back again. Another day of WildStar housing. As you can see, I'm back on my alts plot, celery. I haven't done anything at all since we last touched the fishy, so I'm just gonna try and get into the mood of working with it again. It's pretty warm up here. Of course, I've got my sweater on, but if I take it off, then I'm too cold. I'm not very good at temperature regulating myself. Hey, Flint. Okay, I'm gonna see what we can do with this thing. I guess what I should do is just finish up the belly of the beast, and see where that puts us before I get too involved in working on the head. Although the head is really, I think, my main priority today. As far as I'd like to get a good idea of how I want to tackle it, if nothing else, because it's really going to be a puzzle, I think. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I did get the windows that Flint sent me, so I should be able to test some different types of eyes. I got the colorful, the orange, and the pink. I suspect I'm gonna go with orange because that, that's kind of a little bit of orange, yellowish coloring in the grassy bits, so I'll probably go with that. But that's kind of like a last or a later detail. I've first got to decide how I'm going to build in the head part and the shape that I want it. Because if I'm going to go with like kind of a goldfish kind of style, I have to figure out, do I want it to kind of look a little bug-eyed, or if I just want it to be more flat with the body of the fish. So I don't know how I'm going to decide to go with that until I get to it. So right now, though, I'm just going to see if I can squirrel around with this fish scales for the body, and then we'll go from there. Let's see, I thought I linked these up. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna have to do a reload. I was visiting some other plots a little bit ago, and sometimes when you do that, you come to either your roommate's plot or your own plot, and for whatever reason, it kind of works up the controls a little bit. And usually a reload UI will solve that. I know some people usually recommend like a log out, log in, but typically a reload UI clears most of that up. Not always, but most. Okay, so we're just going to move this forward a bit. So it's going to look a little odd, but mostly because I just want to see the body here a little clearer. So let's see, I'm just going to start copying. I've still got a few plates left out, so I'll use those first. And a little awkward to see through the tail bit, but I'm reluctant to move that now that I kind of got it the way I want. Later I'll probably adjust it anyway, but for now I don't really want to touch it if I don't have to. We're just going to get some really close-up shots of the rear end here. The angle on that colors right? No, it's hard to tell. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll copy this one and maybe rotate it just a little to the right, like so, and then move that in. Yeah, I think that's better. Again, I'm kind of looking at the pattern, how it looks. It might not match up exactly with the pattern path that it's taking on the sides, but I'd like to kind of, just like I did with the top, it's going to be more to the spine of it, and this will be to the belly line. Again, you know, anybody watching this, whether it be live or from YouTube or whatever, this is just a glimpse at my work methods. I know other people work differently and probably a lot quicker. You know, it depends on the theme. Sometimes people have a firmer idea of the decor that they want to use, or what might work. For this particular project, I really just kind of said, I'm going to try this, and didn't really give it too much thought as to what I might use or anything like that. I happened to see, you know, I know the theme for this particular project was aquatic animal, and I'd been playing around with the plates on a different plot for a little bit, and I'd already kind of had the thought in my head, those look like fish scales. And I think it was when I was making the parasols for my mini golf park when it kind of hit me. And so I started with that concept, and I'm just kind of not quite forcing other stuff into it, but I'm having to kind of work along that those lines as far as what I use for colors. As indicated by a visitor yesterday, they agreed with my other assumption or assessment of the plate, was that it also looks like eyeballs. Probably writing a fine line as to what people see when they look at this object. If they see a bunch of eyes or if they see a bunch of scales. You know, I guess it's, well, to play on a pun, it's in the eye of the beholder, because, you know, maybe to them they just see the eyes and they can't get that thought out of their head. But for me, I see scales, so we'll see if it plays off well. Oh, looks like I'm out of plates, so let's drop a pile on here. Apparently a Gilly just got himself the Snarflinks mount. Pretty excited. They are pretty cool mounts. I mean, they purr and they make little mew sounds and they bounce and go boing and they just look cute. They're just too cute to pass up. Okay. Tilt that a little bit. Pop it under, because I kind of want the belly line to be like on the top of the layers. I probably actually need to tuck this in a little bit so that it's a better overlap there. Same with this one. Something like that. Again, it's not going to be perfect because, for one, I'm kind of working at an odd angle. But like I said yesterday, I don't want to have to go through the pain of linking every single one of these plates up, because there's well over a few hundred, I think, here. So we're sitting at, well, oh boy, 320 right now. So, you know, I got a little handful here, and there's a few items that aren't plates, but the majority is plates, and I just don't want to go through the pains of linking all of that up. So we're just going to have to work with the position that I put it in. Thankfully, I've got it up high enough that when I put in the lower fence, I don't think it'll like like drag into the ground. If it does, then, you know, well, I may have to rethink the linking bit. But for now, I'm going to try and avoid that like the plague, because I really don't want to put myself through that. Little, and maybe a little. Okay. Like just copy paste, copy paste. Like one of the main things that a builder uses. So when it goes wonky, then that's really bad. And I know a lot of people have been having problems with it for different reasons and different circumstances, and it can be quite frustrating. Can't rely on the tool to work like you expect it to, then yeah, that could be a pretty tough thing to overcome. Not having to tweak it too much, because I'm kind of going with the spine line, and I'm just able to copy paste and just bring it over pretty easily and just lift it up so that it's, you know, like it's underneath. That's handy. Funnily enough, I've been daydreaming about dinner, and it's not even, it's like 10:30, not even that. But Fridays is pizza night at our home, so I don't know, I guess I just have a really big thing for pizza. We used to do the order out, we'd get like Pizza Hut pizza, because that's really the only, I mean, there's a few mom and pop shops around here that deliver pizza, but the main chain that we have is Pizza Hut. And we used to do that like once a month. We'd, you know, treat ourselves to takeaway pizza. But over the last, I would say, 2 or 3 years, we just started experimenting with making our own. And there's so much flexibility, and you can, you know, instead of buying several large pizzas to try and accommodate you know, all of us can have our own little personal pizza. And if one wants ham and pineapple on theirs, and another wants pepperoni, then, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not a fuss. To just set it up how you want. And maybe the Pizza Hut, you know, you end up with way more mushrooms than you want, or not enough sauce, or whatever. And this way you can make it to your taste. And so that's what we do is we make pizzas every Friday. The dough is like a box, and it's like the super simplest. I mean, a moron could do it. So I'm happy about that because I have trouble following instructions, but it's all it is you just add water to the mix, and we don't. It doesn't say that you have to let it rise, but we always do. We let it rise for like 45 minutes to an hour, and it gets like huge and puffy. And then when you split off the bits to make your individual pizza dough crust, just super easy to use. And I've tried all sorts of pizzas. Our favorite is, tomato based. We don't use the like store-bought pizza sauce. We mix our own. We just use passata, which if you've never tried passata before, I really recommend it because the trouble with like tomato paste and stuff is, at least from what I understand, at least from what I understand, they use the whole tomato. That means skin, seeds, and everything when they like mush it up and suck out all the juice. And whoops, I just keep touching the wrong thing on that. So what that oh, for crying out loud. What that does, if I can get this to sit still, is it makes your well, the paste has kind of a tart, like bitterness to it, and that's because of the skin and seeds. Well, if you get passata, they strain that part out, and you just get the goodness of the insides. And it's a much sweeter, and you don't have to add water to it or anything because it's already nice and juicy and everything. And that's what we use is passata, and then we just season it ourselves. Oops, copied the wrong thing. For seasoning, I think most of us, my husband uses an actual, just a pizza seasoning mix. He's one of those, he's a creature of habit. He's always used that, and he's reluctant to, I mean, he's tried the other a few times, but I think he just likes the ease of just grabbing one bottle and, putting on however much he wants, and then that's all he has to do. But for myself and my son, we like to make our own, using the seasonings of our choice, which is typically oregano and basil and onion and garlic and thyme and not what else. I'm not sure what else is there. It's a pretty good amount of stuff. And I don't measure anything. I just kind of eyeball it and think, oh, that looks good. So it might change a little bit on the flavor, but generally speaking, it has the same taste to it, and it works for us. We all use different cheeses. Like my son, he loves to have mozzarella on his pizza, and I prefer a little sprinkling of Parmesan, and my husband goes for provolone and cheddar cheese. So we got like, when we have the countertop all ready for the pizzas, it looks like a I don't know, a mess, because there's like umpteen different kinds of cheeses, umpteen bottles of spices, and there's all the other toppings, like some of us have ham, others have pepperoni, and another one has well, like today we're going to be having a sage sausage pizza for today. But it's funny, but it's very tasty. It's so much better than the restaurant or frozen pizzas from the freezer store. So if you have the time, you know, the mix itself, it takes, you know, just a minute or two to mix it all together. You don't have to do the letting it rise for 45 minutes, so you could put it in, and then it just takes like 15 minutes to bake, and that's it. And you have fresh pizza, made to order. Let's see, I think that needs to go push in a little bit. Yeah. Okay, probably one, and then like piece of another row to patch that all in, I think. But yeah, I've been daydreaming about the food. I know what's coming. Now we're gonna get pizza, and it's a good family time. You know, dinner's like one of the few times that we make a point to get together and we hear about each other's day. You know, they ask me, how did the streaming go? And we ask our son, how did school go? And for hubby, it's how did work go? And it's just a good family time. And to be able to add to that the fun of just making food, and, you know, can't beat that. If you hear a lot of noises, it's me rearranging my legs. My chair, the desk is at a certain height here, and my chair, if I lower it so that my feet touch flatly on the floor, then the desk is like this to me. So I have to keep my chair kind of pumped up higher than I would normally use it, just so that the desk is at a nice height. So that means my feet dangle, and I don't like the dangly feet. So I have a footstool under here, and I have to switch how I'm sitting my legs so they don't fall asleep or anything. And so if you hear noises, that's what that is. Yeah, that's just some behind the scenes trivia. My footstool making the squeakies. I need to like curve these in a little bit if I can. Just to try and kind of blend it a little better together, because a little wonky down there. What I may have to do is bring these forward, but the gap is a little smaller. Let me just rotate this like that. That might work. Something like that. It just don't want it to feel like it's got like weird like bird wings or something going on. Because it's not a bird, it's a fish. It's supposed to be a fish. See, that's another idea you could use the plates for. Maybe make some kind of a a bird wing, like a hoot owl. A hoot owl would be good for this kind of shape, I think. And I don't know what else. Now I'm all the time offering to make suggestions for other people, and they seem to kind of just flow out of me. And then when I'm trying to think of something for myself, I'm like, I'm drawing a blank. Like, well, what good is that? Can't figure out something for myself. So when Naomi proposed this theme, I was like, uh-oh. I have no idea what could possibly work. But I think we're making progress. I'm liking how it's going so far. I don't feel too frustrated with it. You can't tell what I'm doing. I'm just kind of making little adjustments to try and tighten up. It looks gappy, so I'm just trying to tighten it up a little bit, but it's not so much. And that might help with the curving at the bottom. Might. That's the key word, might. But you know, the plates are essentially kind of flat, so it's hard to make a curve effect and have it be smooth. Without a lot of that like little glitchy looking bits like that where it's meshing in and it's like leaving little jagged bits. I try to avoid those as best I can, but it's not really easy when you're working with stuff like that. But we'll keep at it. We'll keep tweaking and twisting and pushing and moving, and eventually it'll succumb to our plans. Maybe. Yeah, it's a little choppy there. I don't like it. Okay. The idea is to add more, not just sit there and play with what's already there. Because it's never going to get done if I keep tweaking it non-stop. You know, there's always little bits that you can change. A little tweak here and there. And keep doing that over and over, you're never going to finish. And you just gotta, it's like my other projects that I've done, I've had to get to the point where I was like, you know, enough's enough. Apparently it's hailing guildmates place. It'd be pretty weird if it started hailing here. Nice and bright and sunny. Really warm. Okay. It's gonna look messy down here, but we're just gonna slap these in and just then hope that I can tweak it like how it looks ragged. tough. Make that smooth. Oops. Okay, I'm already out of plates again. I'll lay down a few more. Eventually I'll get to a point where I'll probably lay down a bunch and then I won't need them all, because hopefully I'm gonna get to a point where I'm not needing any more scales, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe like the fish that never goes away. Never-ending fish. Okay. Back to copy paste. Come on. Like it lights up, but then it doesn't take a hold or something. I don't know why it does sometimes. Just a little quirky thing. Anyway, yesterday after I went offline for the stream, I stayed in game for a while, but I was on the Dominion side doing some, I guess, reconnaissance. I'm trying to get a good list together so that I can paste it alongside the one that's for exiles. And the plan is, unless I just can't find enough, which I think I've got quite a few sorted out now. But the plan is that I will start including the Dominion homes in my weekly home tour program. And the idea is 1 week I'll visit exile homes and the next week I'll visit Dominion homes, just to kind of break up the rhythm of it a little bit, and give the Dominion side their fair share of time. Because I've already come across a good many of homes that are really pretty unique and interesting to look at. So I hope to start doing that next week. So for anyone watching, and either you're on exile side or you're NA and are sick of seeing the exile side, be sure to tune in next Wednesday. The plan is to go on the wild side and check out some Dominion homes. And as always, I'm open to suggestions. Typically, I just go through the random visitor finder, and I just take a gamble on what homes come up. And sometimes it's the same ones on the list a few times in a row, and then I'll get a new list, and I'll help find some nifty ones, and then I'll go through another dry spell, and eventually I do it enough that I work up a pretty good listing of different types of homes that I've come across. But I'm not averse to people saying, hey, this place, you really should check it out, because I'm sure the random house finder, I really strongly feel that there's ton of homes that for whatever reason just don't show up on there very often. And while I've been at the exile side for few months now, I still feel like I have only touched the tip of the iceberg. Granted, I know a lot of people keep their homes private or neighbors only, uh, but considering the number of people I'm sure that are playing and the number of homes I've come across, um, I just know there's got to be more out there that I just haven't stumbled across. So if you know of your own or alts or friends or guildmates or whoever, um, that they have a home that you really think I should, check out, um, and they're public, that's the main criteria. Is they need to be public because I don't want to have to go around and neighbor a bunch of people, and I don't want my viewers to feel like they're forced to neighbor. And of course, I don't want the homeowners to be flooded with neighbor invites. So really important that the house be public. Um, but if they fit that criteria and you think it's the type of home that I would normally check out, uh, then feel free to drop me a line, either in game or uh, via Twitch, via YouTube, via the forums. I'm all over the place, so I'm more than happy to take requests or suggestions and add them to my list if I feel like they are worthy. Just don't feel bad if I don't end up putting them on the list. I am pretty picky about what homes I add to my little collection. I try to make it so that people understand why I choose ones over others, but a lot of people feel like their homes are awesome, and for them maybe they are, but I do look for certain things. Mostly it's custom built things. That's what I'm looking for. Unique themes can do it too, even if there's not a lot of custom built. If the theme is unique enough, so like if you just have a bar and it's just the same old, pre-made stools and pre-made tables, and while it might look nice and you've got it in, readily visible that it's a bar, we have so many of those, you really have to take a unique spin on your own to make it stand out from the crowd. And that's what I'm looking for. And that typically means custom built doodads. So not something everybody does, but there are a good many of us out there that spend a lot of time doing these little custom build things, and I just want to, showcase those. That's my goal. My whole reason for living. Okay, there's gonna be some weird little gappies here, then I'll fill them in with. Just trying to get some shape into it, because I know for one, this side is a little more filled in than this side, so I'm probably gonna have to really tweak it some. Just to get it to feel more full. And again, that's just because I didn't go scale to scale on each side to make it match exactly. So I'm probably giving myself more work than I might have if I just taken the time to do that, but too bad, so sad. Okay. Take this. Yeah, I hate the fact that some people might feel like I'm like trying to be elitist by being picky about what homes I showcase and stuff. but I'm just hoping that the majority of folks get what I'm going for and are okay with how I do it. So, now, if they don't, I guess it's tough tootlies because, you know, my channel, I can do what I want. But yeah. And as I was saying yesterday, it doesn't have to be like a full plot thing, you know. There's just some that I've come across that have one or two items that they've made special that sometimes if it's like, well, if it's like one or two things, like if out of the whole entire plot and the whole entire insides of their main pre-built home, the one thing they have is a really cool looking pool table or something, for example. If that's the only thing that they have, I'll probably note down their name and then think, well, that's the maybe pile. And what I'll do is I'll keep their name on kind of a side list. And what I'll do is every now and then I'll revisit their home and check it out. And if they've added some more bits, then more than likely they'll be, you know, promoted or upgraded to full-fledged on the list. But if it's still just the one thing, probably I think eventually if I come to a point where I'm like just running out of things to stream or whatever, which I really don't think that will be the case, especially as we have a new influx of people come in with the free-to-play going. I'll probably have plenty of stuff to show, but if I ever get to the point where I'm like struggling, or I just want to do a special, just a custom built item kind of showcase thing, then I'll have all of these homes on this other list that I can pull from and say, you know, maybe they don't have all this other stuff, but they do have this one thing that you really just have to see. And then I'll do that for them and for another, and you know, we'll just jump from home to home looking at, you know, one or two items on them. And you know, that's one thing I can do. But so it's not like they go completely unnoticed. I make a note of the varying degrees of coolness or whatever, and you know, we'll see how it goes. Typically though, if I note their name down and I check back later, usually they've already added some more stuff, because it's kind of an addiction when you're building these custom built items. Once you figure out how to do it and you start playing around with it, it's kind of hard to quit. You think, well, you know, that works here, well, maybe I can do this with this thing, and you just keep throwing out other little objects. You know, it starts small, but then it just grows from there, and you just can't control yourself. And so typically I end up promoting most of the people I've come across in it's that criteria that they have just one thing, and then the next time I look they have a couple more, and the next time I look it's like a whole full build. It just snowballs from there. Just like I've had the opposite happen. I've had several that I've put on the list and then later have had to remove because they've decided to go private. And what happens is I'll notice they've gone private, and I'll kind of like put a little tick mark or some little code that I recognize that lets me know that, hey, they've gone private. I need to check that. And I'll check them like every week. And if they go like 2 or 3 weeks or more at a private state, then I'll take the name off, because I hate sending people to a home and then they can't access it. So if someone's home does get removed and then they are opened back up to the public, I'll come across it again and get to re-add it. Not like once the name is removed, then forever they're banished. You know, it's just dependent on them as if they open the place up or not. Because I repeatedly go to homes, even though I'm pretty sure I've been to their place and I'm pretty sure I didn't find anything there. I will just go anyway, just to double check. And sometimes I, get surprised when I'll see someone's actually decided to do some work when they hadn't before. And so it's always good to just, kind of go across the same names and stuff again. So it's not like they're lost forever if they get removed. And two, I'm always double checking because a lot of people that are into the building will modify their themes. And for the listing that I have, I currently have it broken up into, I don't know, half a dozen themes. I've got ones that are separated off that are all about spaceships and spaceports and castles and stuff like that. They have their own section, and then you've got like the personal residences and stuff. Just kind of separated off into categories, and from time to time someone will have one category and they'll fit it, and then the next week they've changed it to something else, which is fine. It just doesn't mean that they, just because they go in on one thing, means they have to stick with it. No way. I don't want to feel like they have to be a certain way. But I try to keep up on those so that I can update the list, and keep it as fresh as possible. That way, when someone else is looking at the list and they say, I'd like some inspiration for maybe a hover park kind of theme, then at least they'll know that in the hover park section, these particular homes have something related to that might interest them. Of course, if you were a custom builder, I wouldn't limit myself to a certain theme. Maybe that would be what you would start with, but really you would want to visit all of them because you never know what you're going to pick up from one or the other. Even if someone uses a particular custom built little piece for like a haunted house, you might find other uses for it as well. It's like you see a lot of people making like little swimming pools or saunas or something. Those could easily be translated down to a sink, instead, or use it for food trough or an animal, like if you want to do a farm instead, or just making, extending that pool out and making little rivers with it, or other kind of things that would use water effects. So you don't want to limit yourself to only those that say they're resorts with swimming pools. You might find a little thing in a residential home that has something pretty cool that you could use. Yeah, this is looking pretty yucky, but we're not going to be too particular about it because, again, if anybody's coming to look at the butt and the belly of this thing, they got too much time on their hands to come stare at it long. It's just crazy. Crazy. Let's see, I'll go with this one. Looks like it's missing a piece. Yeah, I was pretty delighted yesterday. It was the first time a CRB person dropped by. I was like kind of stunned. I didn't know what to say. I mean, like, was I supposed to say something special, or I don't know. I guess I just kind of freaked out. I was like, what's a CRB doing here? It's fun and all, but it was a little nerve-wracking because it's like, the principal's here. I mean, they're the ones responsible for these tools that I'm working with, and if I'm bad-mouthing it and they happen to come in, oops. That would be bad. Okay. We had another pile of plates. I'm gonna be so sick of plates. I'm not gonna want to use them for a long, long time. I think here. Okay. Got like a small patch. Finish up that part, and then we'll start kind of taking a look at the head. And I'll probably just remove the googles for now, or I'm going to size them down and see if I can maybe use them to kind of use several of them and just kind of shape it like I want. I don't know. Because the main problem is I can't use them at the size that I would really like them because they stick out in the back, and I don't want that. I want that to be nice and clean. It's like a Fabergé fish. So shiny. Sparkly. Should have called him Mr. Sparkly. But he's already been named. Samson gave him the name. Called Mortimer. Okay, let's see. And a little bit. I guess. And got a lot of curving kind of off there, don't we? Well, let's see if we can just kind of finagle this side in too. Probably should like get in the habit of changing the music track on this. I assume there's some music coming through. I don't play any like out external music or whatever. There's one, I don't want to get in trouble with the copyright issues or whatever, but two, I like the WildStar music, so I don't want to like mute that. But I have it kind of turned down low, so it's not like it's echoing on the stream. Because since I don't use a headset, I'm just going by, I guess, whatever my camera's picking up. And so I just go with the game music, but since I have it turned down, I don't know if that affects, I would assume not, the stream sound for the music, but otherwise it's just, you know, just my monotonous voice going on. Which according to some is alright, you know, they use me for helping them go to sleep. Which is okay, I don't mind. This means somebody's listening, if not watching, or doing both. Let's see. It's kind of like this is like a double belly line, isn't it? Instead of like one. And it's supposed to be because I'm trying to keep it lower so the curve is not so sharp. So let's grab this one. It's all kind of messy down here. Don't look at it. It's bad. I see the arrows sometimes, the blue on blue, or the green on the green doesn't seem to, they just need to, I don't know what it is. This seems more like neon-y against the grass, but boy, that blue just, look at it, just disappears. Very frustrating. I have that happen when I use a lot of like orange floors too. Disappear on that. Makes it. Okay, I'm gonna see if there's any place at all that I can kind of tweak this a little bit. Just to get the curve to come in a little better. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it too much, but we'll see. Something like that. Okay. Guess we're just gonna fill this in a little more. A bit, sort of. I've been trying to think of, you know, the theme is for aquatic animal and plant. I can think of plenty of animals, but the plant part, I don't know. Other than kelp forest, I have absolutely nothing that comes to mind. Because I think, I don't know, maybe I'm retarded, but I think most of the like anemones and stuff like that, those are like animals or something. I don't think of them as plants. I mean, they kind of look like plants. Maybe coral would count. I don't know. I think the plant side will be tough. Especially tough to make it out of other plant stuffs without it looking like what the plant already is. If that makes sense. I mean, the kelp forest, I know that I've seen a few using the leafy stalks, and those work really well for that. But beyond just lining a bunch of them up, I don't see how you can really mess it up any further than that. I mean, you could put some fishies around it, but really, you know, the challenge is to create the thing and not a scene per se. It's just the item itself. And to make a kelp forest, I don't know if that would really translate well. So I'm curious to see what everyone comes up with for those that decide to participate. Oh, what am I doing? Thinking I was out of plates. I've been brainwashed to think about plates. Just letting Ro know I tried to include her home on the tours last Wednesday, and I ended up getting that annoying player does not exist error. I know she exists because I just went to her home like the day before, or actually I think it was that morning, and But when I went to go to her house, I got the error, and you know, there's not much I can do about that. It's a temporary error from my experience. I've had quite a few homes do that for me, and then like the next day, it works fine. So I don't know what it is that sets it off, but that's why I usually try to have, even if I plan to only like maybe showcase 3 homes on the Wednesday, I have like 5 or 6 lined up just in the off chance that I have that happen. And sure enough, this last week it did, and I'm glad that I had plenty of others in the works for visiting theirs, because it was like, well, you know, if I hadn't had any others, I would have been kind of stuck. Because I like to plan ahead and double check that all of the homes still are, you know, public and still have, you know, their house there. Because, you know, there have been a few that you add on 1 week or something, and then the next time you turn around, they've created everything. So I always double check before I go live with doing this stuff, just so that I don't disappoint the viewers. Just a couple of more. Don't want this to look like I'm rushing it, but kind of partly looking that way, and mostly that's just because it's hard to blend the 2 separate pieces together like it really needs to be. I'm trying to make it look nice. But the pattern's probably gone all the pot, but maybe no one will fight me for it. There, we got a little bit of white there. Let's see, these get lowered and turned, I think. Move over a little bit, maybe. Something like that. Few oddball gaps here and there. I smooth these over as best we can. Oops. Like one of those people that's like doing a little like driving game or something, and I keep turning my head like I'm yo-yoing back and forth. It's just kind of hard to not do for me. Okay, so maybe like 1 or 2 there. That'll be filled in, sort of. I think I'll pull this one out a little bit. Feels like a lazy Friday. So I guess every day is lazy for me because, you know, I'm here at home all the time. Counts for me having the opportunity to do this and not be worrying about, you know, a boss coming to check it out or whatever, but okay, 1 more on that spot, and then we'll take a step back and kind of look at that. Yeah, this just looks really empty. And I know it's because this one has had stuff added to it, but I'm going to have to wait until I remove these before I can kind of match it up. But I guess we'll let's see what we're going to do here. Oh, my ankle, falling asleep. Unlink those and oops. Let's size them down and see what we can do with them. I think I'll move this out a bit. Same with this one. And just work with the Google head here. I'm gonna turn this so that the eyes, I have just a smooth shape. And let's see, how else do I? Hard to see the bits. Looking at the shape that's already there and seeing how well I can fit this into that shape and have it kind of fit a little. And I'm just gonna like try and I guess mold my fish to the shape I want. That makes sense. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try. Yes. So much easier if you just have like a little spray bottle and said, okay, I want it's here and here and looking how far I can go back to. What a ways it looks. Just a lot of little tweaking here, trying to get it to fit like I want, but his shape is so picky-uni. And of course the gap that I'm working with is kind of oddly shaped, so that doesn't help. Something like that. Once I get the shape I guess I want, then I can kind of mold these around it a little better. Sort of. I don't know if that's... Let's see. Let's start over. Move that out. Let's do this way. Maybe if I work with the narrower end, you know, while I may need to use more than one, you know, a little bit more than I intended, maybe that will give you the flexibility I'm looking for as far as shaping it. So I really probably should pick out where this sits in relation to this fine line. And about how far I want him to stick out. Now, I don't want it to be like a pointed nose, so I'll be adding more on that, but it looks about the right shape as far as this goes. Almost like an egg. And then he's somewhat lined up down the middle. So we have a kind of a starting point. And I can, you know, readjust it later if I decide that it's too pointed or whatever. Now we just want to get this. So eyes a little fuller up here, but he still keeps that smooth look. So I need to buy a few more of these hoogles. Let's see. I think it's that one. Yes. We'll just pop a few out here. I don't know how many I'm gonna need. Just want to have plenty to fiddle around with. So copy this one here. And the reason I'm kind of set on using the hoogle is because I like how it's a bit of greenish color. I know it's probably supposed to be more like a gray stone, but it looks greenish to me, and I like that it kind of goes with the twigginess of his tail and stuff. Okay, so we're going to copy that one. And we're just going to move that down a bit and then bring it out a little further. Again, I'm having to look if there's any kind of weirdness poking out. Seems to be okay. And we'll copy that one. And let's see. Jumping all over the place. I'm gonna need another one just to kind of fill that out. So let's copy this one again. And let's see, do I need to lower it maybe? Still looking pretty smooth out here. Don't see any kind of really odd bits, so that'll work. as I build this up to give it a little more shape on the head, I can smooth out the curves and blending there. Okay, so now I need to do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna need some more hoogles. Again, I don't know how many I need, so I'm just kind of throwing a bunch out. See where we go. So we'll paste this one, and then looks like we need to bring it down. Maybe rotate it a bit. And then can't go back. That's a little off. A little better. Just looking kind of at the shape here. A little different. I'm gonna move this back a little. Something like that. And then we need to have another one or two here, I think, fill in. Now the bottom here, it might look a little awkward, but I'm gonna leave it like that. We'll just rotate it this way. Something like, trying to give it that belly, rich looking bit where like the gills are.